first of all, what do we need to be working on this project? You need the template, which, as I said, there is a link to. You'll be able to download this from the link that Kate's kindly put up on the Search Press page. So that's our template. You're going to need a piece of iron-on interface. This has different words for different names, but basically this is an iron-on adhesive. Excuse me. Tickly cough from talking all day. So this is an iron-on adhesive. This particular one is Bond-A-Web. Heat and Bond is another one. There's a number of them out there. They've got paper one side, and then they've got a glue or heat activated glue on the other side. All right. You're going to need a cushion pad. Now this is a 13-inch cushion pad that I've got in here, and I've done an envelope back on the back because that's the simplest thing to do. Excuse me, I didn't actually grab myself a glass of water as I ran down the corridor, but I did grab myself a coffee, so please excuse me. So I like a cushion to be quite fitted. I don't like them to be too floppy. I like them to be quite stuffed. So I always work to the same size as my cushion pad. So I would make my front 13 inches as well. This is 13 inches across. Then when I come to sew it, I'll lose half an inch to 3/4 of an inch in the seam allowance. So the outside will be slightly smaller than the cushion pad, which then gives you this nice shape here. Hi, Sharon. Thank you for joining in. So, and then we need a piece of the snowflake fabric, which in this case, basically an A4 piece, because if you have a look at the template, that's our template. So we need a piece of our adhesive that's about A4 and a piece of the white fabric that's A4 as well. So I've got a 13-inch square for the front, and then on the back, because I'm doing an envelope back like this, we need it to overlap. All right, you can see here it is overlapping slightly. So what I always do, whatever size cushion I'm working to, I will always do these two back pieces at 2/3 of the measurement. Okay, so this is 13 inches. So I've actually done this at 8.5 because 13 inches, round it down to 12, it just makes life a little bit easier. But this will then be 2/3 of the entire width. Okay, so if I do that piece that size and that piece that size, it means we have sort of a third overlap in the middle. So when you put your cushion in, it's going to lie nice and flat like this. But if you do them both the same size, when you put your cushion in, it actually does that, and it's quite unsightly. And this envelope back is in the first book. It's a nice, simple way of finishing a project. I've also chosen denim here because I love denim. I love including denim in my quilts and home decor. I just think it gives it a very sophisticated look. But you can use any fabric. You could use velvet if you were feeling brave. You could use just quilting cotton. And as I said, I've got this is a white cotton on here. So I have my denim back piece. And then for speed, I've already traced my my design out. I've traced it onto the paper side of my iron-on adhesive, and then I have my iron here, which I really hope has heated up. Yes, so I've got my iron. I'm going to get, first of all, move that out of the way. I'm going to fold this into 4. All right, so this is 13 inches square, as I said. I'm going to fold it into 4 and just give it a quick press on those straight edges. That's because it's going to mark a quadrant for me. So when I come to place my template, I can get it nice and in the center because I'm using this line here to go through the center of my template this way, and this one goes top and bottom there, and I know it's going to be equidistant. If I just bring that in a little bit, you can see probably a bit better my pencil lines. I've realised it's not very dark at the moment, so let's see if I've got something that's it looks dark enough in reality, but we're only using this as a guide, but just so that you can see it a little bit better. There you go. You should be able to see sort of just tracing it. So let's pop that there and there. It means I don't have to measure anything, and I know it's going to be in the center. So now I'm going to get my iron, and I'm just going to place my iron onto it. Now we just let the iron sit there for a moment. You can see straight away that's actually stuck. You use an iron for the hottest your fabric will allow, the hottest temperature. So I've just done something incredibly stupid because I'm in a rush. I've just stuck my template, instead of sticking it to my fabric, I've stuck it to my denim. Okay, change of plan. I'm on this particular cushion, I'm going to have a denim star. Because I'm in a rush, I've just done them the wrong way around, but never mind. So, and I've just put it to the wrong side as well. So we're just going to work with this. These things happen. I've done worse things on television. What I should have done was press this, and it's too late now because I've pressed it to my denim. I should have pressed this onto the back of my my snowflake fabric. I haven't. I've stuck it to the front of my denim. So what we would do then in an organised Sarah world, which is obviously not one we're inhabiting today, I would stick that on the back of my white fabric. Then I would cut out my design, and then we would heat activate that and stick it to the other piece. But actually it might be, if I grab another piece of denim, we'll have a double denim star. See, that's the joy of when you've got a sewing machine. You can do all sorts. It doesn't matter if it goes wrong. So I now have two star. I'll now have two snowflake cushions. Anyway, so let's pretend I meant this. All right, so I'm going to just give that a quick press. And then we take our fabric scissors and we cut out our design accurately. All right, the nice thing about using something like Heat and Bond or Bond-A-Web is that it prevents your fabric fraying. Now you can play around with this design as well. I mean, I've kept it fairly solid, but you could perhaps cut the middle out as well. So I'm just going to give that another quick press. And then I need to find another piece of denim. So now a quick way to cut. I don't mind this selvage being here because that's going to be swallowed up in the seam allowance. So a quick way to cut a square, if you haven't got the space or the time to get your big ruler out, is actually take this corner and fold it up. Bring the camera up a little bit. There we go. Up so that it's straight. This, when you cut it out, will now be a square. Okay, so I measured this. This is 13 inches. Again, I'm not too pretentious or precious about that because I like it to be smaller, or start the same size but end up smaller than my cushion pad anyway. So here we go. So I've got my square piece. Right, so I'm just going to give that a quick press again. Just in case you're wondering, my iron is a special iron that lifts up when I let go. That's the noise you can hear. That actually lifts up. It also means that I can put it on my cutting mat because it lifts up. So please don't message me and say, oh no, you're putting it on your cutting mat. What are you doing? It's actually designed for that. So I'm just going to give that a quick press. So we're back to where we were before. Now what I'm going to do is I've got my denim here, and actually when we put it on top, it's going to show up. You see, that's still going to look equally. I really like that actually. I think I prefer that. So here we go. We've got that one, which is very white, and then we've got that one. I like that. Anyway, So that's what it's going to look like. So the next thing is to take this adhesive off the back. And in order to do that, I need a pin. I'm just going to go to my pin tray and grab a pin. Now, denim is quite thick, but this is on the back and we need to peel it off. So one way to peel off from fabric is just run your pin along, and you see you can then grab an edge. Otherwise, you're trying to peel in from the edge, and the more you try and peel in, the more your fabric could fray. Make sure as well that this bit, that if you're going to keep your scraps, you cut off all of these bits of white paper, because they can lift off in your stash box, and then you don't realise necessarily, you might not notice that, and then you go to use it, you press it, and the adhesive sticks to the bottom of your iron and then is quite tricky to get off. So here we go. I have to say, I do love Bondaweb and Heat and Bond. These iron-on adhesives are so useful, because we could actually be attaching this. Obviously, I'm making a cushion, but we could be attaching this to a bag. We could be putting it on a Christmas stocking, anything like that. So now we're back to where I had those folds that we did earlier. Right, so now you can see my adhesive is face down, and it's kind of shiny. You can't really see it from here, but it does make the fabric feel a bit different. If you have an applique sheet or a piece of what they call, which crease was I looking at? That one, a piece of baking parchment you can use. You could just pop this on top to stop any sticky remnants getting caught on your iron, and then we put the iron back on. And as I said, for the hottest setting your fabric will allow. Now I'm using denim, and so it allows pretty hot. Now it doesn't stick straight away really quickly. You can see that's stuck, but that's not. And that's because denim is quite thick. So it takes a few seconds for the heat to penetrate enough to melt that glue layer. It actually does smell quite nice. I think there's a treatment in the denim that heating it up does smell quite. Right, so I tend to let it cool a little bit because that is holding the heat, and then I'm just going to go around with my finger and make sure those edge pieces are all stuck. They are, so I can turn my iron off now. And my sewing machine is currently set up as a standard sewing machine. We are going to use a free motion foot on it. Now I have two examples here. One is a plastic one. So this is a free motion foot, and the other one is a metal version. They are the same. They are hoppers, so they move up and down. We need to drop the feed dogs on our machine. Now the feed dogs are these teeth just in there. And to do that on my machine, this is a brother. I'm going to take the extension tape, the storage caddy off. And then behind here, there's a little switch. And if you look there, as I flick the switch, you see those feet go down. When I flick it back, they don't come up immediately. You've actually got to turn the flywheel on the side, and then they will come up. But they are down. The next thing I'm going to do is take the whole foot off, this piece here, because the foot I'm going to use connects by the screw here. If anybody's got any questions, please do shout out. I'm trying to keep an eye on those at the same time. So let's undo that. This is not particularly easy for you to see, but hopefully you're getting a bit of a view. I like a full open toe like this one. Now you can see there that the ends are open, and when I got this was closed, so there was plastic in the middle there. Now if I just come back to here, and I'll just bring in and show you. See, on this foot there was actually two red lines. I don't know if I can get that to zoom in. Come on. There we go. There were two red lines. You can just about see the remnants of one of them there. Those are built-in flaws, so you can get a pair of snips and you can cut along those lines, and then you make it into an open toe like that. It's very useful. I do it with most of mine, which means I can't actually show you one that I've not done it to, because as soon as I get them, I tend to do it. Just gives me increased visibility. But that's why when you look sometimes at feet, they've got those red lines on, and you think, what's that for? But that's why. So I'm going to put my foot on here, and then I'm going to tighten it up with the screwdriver. I'm going to turn my machine on. So give it a second. Now, when I do this, the stitch I choose, I favour a straight stitch with the needle right in the centre. So on this machine, that is going to be that particular button. Your different machines will have different numbers, but I like to have it in the middle for the best visibility I possibly can. Then the stitch length is of no relevance on most machines, because you've actually switched the feed dogs off anyway. If you can't drop your feed dogs, you may have a machine. Some singers have a cover. Other ones will not let you drop your feed dogs, or won't like it if you drop your feed dogs, but you can set your stitch length to 0. So just check your manual and see what we're looking at with yours. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to drop down my foot in place, and I'm going to drop my knee. Oh, actually, I need to hold my starting thread in my left hand, drop the needle down, and then press it back up again. And as I pull, you'll see my bobbin thread pulls through as well. That means that I can take both of these and pull them out of the way. Okay, so we're going to now do free motion all the way around my snowflake. Now you can do it one of two ways. You could actually do this with a straight foot and just keep moving it, just keep doing this. It takes a while, but you might like to do that. Another thing that you can do with this one, I actually went round with the free motion foot. You can't quite see it there. Let's pop it. Let's go there with a free motion foot, but just once round. And that was okay because my fabric was white. But what you can do is you can do something that I tend to think of as scribbling, which actually adds an element to this. But it needs to be wobbly, and you need to do it 3 times. If you just do it the once, it just looks like it's wobbly. But if you do it 3 times, it looks like you meant it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up and down in the same spot. And then I'm just going to whiz quite roughly, because also this will fray a little bit, and it just adds to that sort of shabby chic look. Right, so once I've reached the same point that I started at, I'm going to cut my thread, and there we go. There's the front of our cushion finished. So if I just bring you back to here, there we go. So we've got this now. We've got this lovely design, and we've got this really fun bit of stitching that goes around the outside, and in some places it's gone off. But if you think about it, when you look at a snowflake, they are all unique and they are all perfect, but they're not, because they've melted a bit on one side. You know, if you put a snowflake under a microscope, you'd find that part of it has probably come off by the wind and stuff like that. So I think this just gives it a very natural look. I really like it. So to turn this into our cushion back, what we needed to do was cut, as I said, 2 pieces. I'm just going to bring this up a little bit. 2 pieces that are as wide. Now, I've got another piece of denim here, and then 2/3 the width, so that they sort of cross a little bit in the middle. Okay, so this section here is where they overlap. I'm only going to do one of them for now, but what we'll then do is take one of your backing pieces, and I'm going to fold it over by about 1/4 inch. Now with denim, you can get away with just folding it over once, but if you're using cotton, you really want to fold it over twice. So you just take it over once and then fold it over again like this. So I just knocked a box off the table when I moved everything. You know when you just have one of those days. Right, so let's go back to the sewing machine. I always feel when I say that, I feel like going back, let's go to the Batmobile. But I'm going to take this off and I'm going to raise my feed dogs up because I finished that free motion section. So I'm going to bring my dogs back up. And as I said, they don't actually re-engage with Brother Machines until you turn the flywheel. And there they are. What's the name of the fusible iron-on? I am using, hang on, I can't quite see who's, let me just do, that was Mandy. Mandy, the fusible that I'm using this is a heat and bond. Sorry, no, this is Bondaweb, but there is another one that we can get easily in the UK, which is called Heat and Bond. They both do the same thing. Right, so I'm going to place that there, and we're going to stitch all the way along. I have also just realised that I've got the wrong foot on there for this. I need my end foot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little stop stitch. I'm going to cut my thread, swap over the feet. That's just because a decorative foot like this has a groove underneath it. And then hopefully we can, got a groove underneath it so that these kinds of stitches run more easily. That's it. That will run better, I think, because sometimes as well, when you're using a decorative stitch, if it doesn't run and doesn't come out as you expect. So when I did that little test, part of it, I only got half of a stitch out. It's probably because I didn't have the right foot on it. So because it's catching, but it's not catching now. I am drifting slightly because I keep looking at my screen to see if there are any questions. Jackie says, just found you, what a treat. Thank you, Jackie. I am drifting a little bit, but... And you don't have to do this on both pieces of your cushion because only one of them is going to be visible. And you can see I've actually just stitched that row of little bursts around the outside. I think it's quite sweet actually. That might be quite nice on sort of the bottom of a pair of jeans, maybe if you've got some jeans that need sort of fixing. Mandy says I look best blurry. Yeah, I have those days too. So you'll actually create 2 of these, and then we simply take our cushion front, right? And you will place one piece. The one that you've got your better line of stitching goes down first, okay? Because that's the bit that's going to come out and look like this. So you would take your best piece and you put that right sides together like this. Now what I also do is you need to pin these, because once you pick it up, bits can flap around. And I have done this before when I've gone to sew, and when I've looked at it, part of that just tucked underneath, especially when you put your second piece goes on top this way. All right, so you've now got 2 pieces, which means you can't see where this one is because there's kind of another piece of the back like that, so this is hidden. So what I do in that case, and I'm going to show you with this one, I should just take the cushion pad out and you will see. Let's just turn this the right way. Because this will be easier than we're a bit short on time. So here we go. We've got our 2 pieces. There's our cushion. So now it's basically that. All right. We've laid the first piece down and then we've laid the other piece on top so that both of our finished edges across the middle. And you sew around the outside with probably a good, I'd say a generous quarter of an inch to a half an inch. Now, if you're giving this as a gift or selling them, then I would suggest using your overcasting foot and an overcasting stitch to go round this edge after you've sewn it together to stop any fraying of your fabric in your washing machine. And then we're going to turn it through. Now, the way that I was taught recently to turn through was by a very nice lady who came to see me at Festival of Quilts and told me that all this time I've been doing it wrong, which I'd always been taught to chop off those corners to reduce bulk. And this lady said to me, no, do not do that, because that weakens that very corner and you can cut through the thread. She said she was a classically trained couturier, which I didn't even know that was a thing, but she said this was how they were always taught to finish garments that have got points. So what you do is you don't cut it and you put your finger right into that tip just here. You fold your piece of fabric forwards and hold it with your thumb, all right, and pinch, and then fold this way and hold it with your thumb. So what you've done is you've folded it along that stitch line. So I'm now going to hold this in place, and when I turn it through, you see we have, I roll it a little bit with my finger, I've got an almost perfect square corner, because that folded fabric supports that corner and it means it's not going to be weakened by cutting through. So let me show you this again. So stick your finger right in the corner, fold the fabric over the sew line and then that piece there as well. And you've now got it all held in a right angle. The reason we usually trim it off is to reduce the bulk, because we just stuff the bulk into the corner. And as a result, you get a curve. And it's not as pretty as it could be. But if we fold that through, I'm still holding on to that point there. And you see straight away, we've got a lovely pointy corner. Again, finger into the corner, fold along the sew line, and that way along the sew line, hold with your thumb. As you turn it through, you push your thumb into the corner. Another right angle, and then we've got one more to do, and we finger in the corner. So I do this every time now. I think it just gives it a really nice professional looking finish, and we don't end up with bunching in the corner, and it also doesn't weaken the fabric. We've got these lovely straight edges. And then all I'd have to do at this point now is take my cushion and stuff it in. So there we go. And I'm going to manipulate my cushion pad a little bit so that it fills into the corners. And that overlap means that you won't see any of the cushion pad. So now we've got one that is made with a white quilting cotton. This is a white tone on tone. And this one is made with the other side of the denim. So you've got two different looks there, two really fun projects. Perhaps if you've not tried free motion before, then that could actually be quite a fun way of introducing yourself to it, because we don't need perfection. In fact, it looks better if we don't. We just scribble around it. So there we go. We got it finished in the end. Thank you very much again for joining me. Please, if you do have a go at this project, make sure you tag the Search Press page and myself. I'm Sarah Payne Quilter. Tag us in, because we're all really nosy and want to see what you make. And Mandy says, thank you for this. I'm making my first cushion this week, so this live was perfectly timed. You've taught me a lot. Yeah, you don't need to make life difficult. Keep it nice and simple. An envelope back is really, you know, a good way to go. You don't have to worry about zips and things. Oh, thank you very much, Mandy. Julie says, thank you. Lovely demo. Morag says, thank you. Says, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to Search Press for, first of all, letting me write my book, which I'm beyond thrilled about, and then letting me write a second one. Well, but also letting me come and take part in their Christmas festival. And there are plenty more videos coming up and ones that have already happened with lots of projects. And I look forward to seeing more of you soon. You can always come over and join me on my Facebook page as well. I do a lot over there. I do Facebook Lives and generally muck about a bit, really. Anything to do with fabric, and I'm happy to muck about with it. But thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm going to go home now and have a nice Sunday roast and a sit down. And I look forward to seeing what you get up to and what you make. So thank you very much. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.